Cut Through podcast. I'm Simon Bohr, and this is how to communicate with clarity in a noisy world. I'm Simon Bohr. I used to be the Chief Executive of UK Government Communications, and now I write, speak, and advise companies on communications leadership, strategy, and capability. Cut Through is a new blog and podcast for anyone who relies on communications to drive performance and to build trust. It's focused on the essential skills that communicators need to thrive in this world of disruption and change. Every episode is going to be a written article, a podcast, and a video so that you can read, listen, or watch, whichever suits you best. In this first episode, I want to set out why I'm writing Cut Through. Communications leadership is at a crossroads. For many, I think it feels like a crisis. Internally, employees expect clarity, transparency, and authenticity on everything from company strategy to global political events. Externally, customers, stakeholders, and the media operate at hyperspeed. A single reputational crisis, even one that's based on false information, can destroy trust, sink share prices, or end careers instantly. Just when you understand the latest tech, it's already outdated, budgets are tight, expectations are rising, trust is low, and through it all, as a communications leader, you're being asked to do more, say more, react faster. Leaders today are overwhelmed by noise and inundated with information. And unless we rethink how we lead communication, we risk being overwhelmed. But we should be optimistic about our ability to change to meet this challenge. After all, our profession has been changing rapidly for the last 25 years. At the start of my career, the world moved more slowly and the job was much more straightforward. On my first day in PR, my predecessor lent me his most prized asset, a black and red A6 notebook that contained the handwritten phone numbers of all of his media contacts. His handover was a single sentence: become best friends with everyone in this book. And as I canvassed views from others in public relations, it seemed pretty straightforward. Yes, it required creativity, relationship skills, and the ability to think on your feet. But fundamentally, if you stuck to a few simple rules, you should be okay. Never lie to a journalist. Always make sure you have a story. And most important of all, always pay for lunch. Unless you were in marketing, there was really only one way to get your message across to the public: to convince a journalist to write or broadcast your story. Most people only had access to 5 TV channels. There was no social media. Facebook was still a few years away. When I purchased my first mobile phone, my flatmates were incredulous. Why did I need one? Who could I possibly need to speak to so urgently that it couldn't wait until I got home or to the office? If you wanted advance sight of a newspaper story, then you picked up an early print edition of the Sunday papers that was sold at tube stations on a Saturday night. Media monitoring was done by reading the papers, cutting out the relevant articles, and then photocopying them for the boss. Internal comms mainly consisted of posters pinned to a company notice board. We had recently been given access to the internet at work, but there was still a debate as to whether people should be permitted to use it during working hours or not. The job wasn't without excitement. I got a buzz from seeing a story that I'd briefed or written appearing in the press the next day, but it was steady and it was predictable. Fast forward 25 years, and, well, you probably know how it is. You're still expected to be across every TV bulletin and newspaper editorial, but now there are 500 TV channels and 1 million citizen journalists. And if that wasn't enough, you need a view on every social media platform, podcast, digital video channel, and peer-to-peer messaging app. Your CEO wants to know how she can go viral. Your team wants you to partner with an influencer you've never heard of, but who apparently has more followers than Taylor Swift. You know you should be basing your comms on data, but you have so much data that you can't find the insight. You've only just started getting to grips with generative AI, and apparently if you don't talk agentic AI at the next board meeting, you're going to look oh so 2024. Oh, and your staff board would like to know why you haven't put out a statement on Gaza yet. The world of communications has changed, and how we lead must change too. As Chief Executive of UK Government Communications, I was the most senior communications advisor to the UK government, leading more than 6,000 communications and marketing professionals. I was privileged to work with some of the best in the business, not just on the civil service side, but also on the political side. Number 10 Downing Street political advisors of all parties were among the brightest and hardest working people I've known. And yet, after 6 months, all of them faced criticism. Not because they lacked ability, but because they were in an impossible job. The response to every political or policy failure was, we failed to get our message across. People don't understand our story, or the comms hasn't been good enough. In the 4 years that I did the job, I ended up working with 11 political number 10 directors of communication. And I think anyone trying to engage with the whole of today's media environment is bound to be overwhelmed, caught in a tidal wave of information and misinformation. The media landscape is more diverse and fragmented than ever, yet you're expected to be across everything. Isn't that your job, after all? Well, no, it's not. Your job is to use communication to achieve your organization's objectives. Everything, everywhere, all at once is a movie title and not a comms strategy. If you try to do everything, then you'll fail to do anything well. So it's time to push back on unrealistic expectations. It's time to be more strategic. It's time to make some choices, time to lead with greater clarity. When I started my career, there were 2 books that gave me insight into politics and communications. The first, by US broadcaster Chris Matthews, was called Hardball: How Politics is Played by One Who Knows the Game. The second was the marketing classic, Ogilvy on Advertising: The Art of Selling from the Most Successful Ad Man of All Time. I read both of them repeatedly. I felt as if I had been given the secret recipes for success by the ultimate insiders. And 25 years on, it feels like the right moment to try to write my own version. The world of communications has changed beyond recognition from when I started out, but I want to explore precisely what has changed, what hasn't changed, and why it matters for modern communicators. More importantly, I want to examine the winning strategies and the essential skills for this changed world and try and articulate a new operating model for communications today. I hope I've learned enough to be able to pass on some of what works, what doesn't, and why, but I definitely don't have all the answers. And that's why I hope that Cut Through can become a community, somewhere where other people comment and contribute their learning and ideas too. So I hope it will be useful to you, and even more, I hope you enjoy reading it.